2025 is wrapping up and I kind of want to talk about her. I wrote a book. If I stopped the video right there, I'd be so goddamn proud of myself. I wrote a mother-loving book, and the feedback that I'm getting from it just makes my heart so happy, and it makes me, more solidified in my purpose and why I wrote it in the first place. And this year, though, 2025 was an emotionally taxing year for a lot of reasons, and I felt like it wasn't the right time to promote myself and my artistry as much as I probably should have. But that's changing going into 2026. Like, I am ready to go. Like, I got plans, I got lists. Like, I am ready to mother love and go in 2026. But it also taught me a lot of things about myself and the people around me. And one of the biggest things that I learned, especially as a creative and as an artist, that I can't wait to live my life until I've made it, right? I've told myself that almost my entire life, that when I make it, and by make it, I mean living off my art, saying that I can fully support myself off of my creativity. That's what I mean by making it, right? I don't know, I'm going to kind of dig deeper as to why I feel this way, but I understand the assignment in the sense that I know that all good things in life requires some form of sacrifice, right? And I have been willing to pay that sacrifice. And while I do feel that I'm starting to feel a little unwilling, if that even makes sense, I know that I'm not quite there yet. I am on the cusp, right? Like, at any day, at any moment, I know things are going to fall in place for me because I've been working for this, right? But, what I mean by sacrifice, I see a lot of my other peers, they go on vacations. As a woman, like, I don't always have my nails done. I don't always have my hair done. I don't always take myself shopping like I would like to. And I can't stand that men are so sassy on the internet calling us out about that. Because it's like, babes, you don't know the bigger picture. You don't know what we're doing, okay? You don't know that I am putting that money towards something bigger, okay? Like, God. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. So, I was like, fine, I'm okay with these sacrifices. I'm okay with not traveling. I'm not gonna spend excess money on all these other things that I see like my peers doing because I'm in my sacrificial period. And I kind of got over that this year. I kind of was like, I can't live like this. I can't live this way. No. So I started living. I took myself on many vacations. I went to concerts. I'm not gonna lie, the one that kind of got me in my feelings was going to Las Vegas to see Cowboy Carter, Beyonce. I did that by myself as a solo trip. I was supposed to go with a friend, but plans change, things happen. And I was in my feelings because, while I was sitting there seeing all the mother daughters and the girl groups and everything like that, taking pictures in their cute outfits, I kind of got in my feelings, had to hold back tears. I'll blame it on my margarita, right? But I mean, that's not going to change for me going into the new year. I already have like 4 concerts in the first 3 months that I want to go to. One of them being the Phantom of the Opera. I have been waiting 2 decades since I was 14 to watch that on stage, and I am so excited for that. I'm also planning a trip for my birthday. I want to plan trips for the summer because I miss the beach. I miss warm weather. I miss sand in between my toes. I miss bikinis. Like, I am gonna go for it because, again, I can't wait to start living until I've made it. Because what if that day never comes? I don't believe that whatsoever. But I mean, I will admit to myself that it's taken a little bit longer than I had anticipated. And I don't know how much longer it's going to take me. And why am I waiting? Like, for what? Tomorrow is not promised. And this shift in mentality has made all the difference this year, for sure. But it wasn't even just about like concerts and fun things. It was about health and wellness and just my day to day. And of course, insurance being the scam that it is, I knew that I had to do a lot of things out of pocket. I had to pay well over $1,000 for my hormone specialist that I saw, which has made all the difference. And I was really sad that Anthem did not cover basic necessities as far as like a hormone specialist goes, especially because I was dealing with like sleeping problems, digestion, fatigue, things that impacted my day to day, right? Weight management, stuff like that. But it's like, it is what it is. Paid for the dentist out of pocket too, because I didn't have dental insurance. And I don't regret those things because it's like, wellness is becoming a luxury. I spent a pretty penny on those things, but wellness is important. And if I want to be out and about having these experiences, I want to have the quality of life to be able to do that. And that starts internally, right? So this year, really, the biggest shift for me in mentality was just like, not waiting for what? To start living and doing these things. What is meant to be will be regardless if I save every single penny that I get, to put towards advertising or to put towards my music. Like, it's going to happen. It's inevitable, right? And so that really was important to me. And I want to share that with other creatives and artists. It's just like, make it happen, but also have fun, have other experiences, make time for other things, because that's going to further, liven your spirit. It's going to give you a new source of strength and motivation and inspiration. And I am so excited for what is going to happen in 2026. Like, I'm ready to go. Another thing that I was really big on this year was discipline and consistency. And they go hand in hand, right? So again, I said I wrote a book, and the biggest thing I learned about myself in that process was that I actually had the discipline to sit there and write and finish it. Especially as someone who has ADHD, it's really hard for me to sit with anything. But also, a few years ago, I had mentors, I had important people in my life sit me down and told me that, I tend to jump from topic to topic. I jump from project to project and I never finish anything. I have these great ideas, but, I never see them to fruition, which was a very hurtful conversation for me to hear, because in my mind, there were other hindrances, there were other blocks. But the fact that I was one of them was not something that I saw coming. And that was like my ADHD, right? Like I have all these ideas running through my head, but the fact that I was being called out for never finishing something really, really hurt me. And so how I do things now in my creative space, in my creative brain, is I start something and I finish it, right? So I started my book and I finished my book. Before that, I was working on my podcast, like my show, whatever, and I put that on hold, and I'll get to that in a second, but I put that on hold to solely focus on my book. Now that my book is finished, I'm moving on to something else. So going back to my podcast, my talk show, whatever I'm wanting to call it, also went along with consistency. So the biggest hindrance that I saw with like my talk show and my podcast was finding quality guests, right? People weren't as consistent. People backed out last minute. I had my whole setup, and that was a day. Like, I was really upset about that. I was really deflated. I had my lights, I had my mics, and people just canceling last minute. I was like, you know what? Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm going to move on to something else. And so what I decided to do this year was utilize social media. That's what it's there for, right? So I was more consistent on TikTok and YouTube, posting videos, and I have no filter. I'm going to say what needs to be said. I'm not going to mince my words. I'm very intentional with my words. And I saw some progress with my consistency in the form of numbers, right? Subscribers, whatever, like that stuff. I wish it wasn't as important as it is, especially for everything that I want to do, So, but in my mind, that's also potential guests, right? Finding people who are of like mind, finding people that also want to talk about these things. And so I'm really excited about that going into 2026, because that's probably going to be like my forefront, my focal point, as well as my music. I was supposed to release music in October, but we were just dealing with so many things around that time in society that it didn't feel like the right time, especially because I've just decided to admit that I'm Southern, admit that I'm from a small town and I'm from a poor family, and I write country songs, or slightly Southern. That is what I'm calling myself. That is what my album will be called. And I'm excited and preparing myself for potential backlash, because people are ignorant on that. But those two things are important projects for me, and that is what I'm going to focus on in the new year. So I'm super excited about all of this. Dating wrapped is short and sweet. One of my New Year's resolutions last December was to put myself out there in the new year. Girl, it's like, you cute, you're charismatic, you're funny, you're a good kisser. Like, why of all women you don't have a man? You know what I mean? So the last time that I put myself on a dating app, I instantly got snatched up, because again, I'm not the problem. And that man done fucked up by February, and I was like, I had enough. I don't need this in my life. And haven't been on a date since, haven't been kissed since, haven't had the sex since. And that's okay, because another thing that I'm super passionate and I feel so strongly about is I know that soon I am meant to meet a man that's going to be very important to me. I'm not going to throw out husband, I'm not going to throw out soulmate, but who knows? You know, so I can be patient, I can wait. And that's another thing that I learned about myself this year. So people, I don't care who stays, who comes, who goes, you know, like it's not about protecting my peace. It's also just letting people have the peace that they think is going to be their peace. And so another like little mini series segment that I'm going to start in the new year is AA, like Assertives Anonymous, because I know us assertives are not faring well in this passive aggressive world, which again, another topic for another day. And so, yeah, like I am not that person that needs a lot of friends. I don't need a big social group. I don't need all that. I have a good core group. I have a good, you know, purpose. I have just great people in my life. And so I don't need this extra, you know, like I don't care about all that. So, you know, 25 was a good one. You know, like I accomplished a lot. I learned a lot, and it has set me up beautifully for what's going to happen in 2026. So stay tuned, because I'm telling you, big things are happening over here.